All right, this is Brad from MMAaficionado.com, and we're sitting down with Kris Moutinho, who is fighting in March. Is that a UFC fight night at the Apex?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's one of the smaller cards.
Yeah, uh, different feel. Last time you were part of the biggest card of the year in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, I fought on the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier card. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's one anything Conor's on is gonna be one of the biggest fights of the year. You know what I mean? Just by his persona and the way he is. So
yeah, and that was a hell of a way to make a debut. You it was a short notice, right?
yeah, yep. I took the fight on 11 days notice and fought a pretty big name dude, and it went the way it went. You know what I mean? How it went down is the way it went down. I could have done things better, could have done things differently, but the fight went the way it was, and I'm glad it was just exciting for everybody else to watch.
Yeah, you definitely put on a show, and I think the UFC brass saw, how you just kept moving forward and kept going at it, and you put on a show, and it was a really good fight. And
Yeah.
you know, I think didn't how many fights did they give you on your deal?
Yeah, man, it is what it is. Yeah, I got a 4 fight contract, and this is gonna be my second fight on the contract,
Okay,
and I'm just excited to go out there and show a different side of who I am. You know what I mean? Just
yeah,
not the fact that I can just be tough. I got also got skills, and I can't wait to go out there and show everybody.
yeah, and you have a wrestling background, right? So
Yeah.
you hoping to show that when you get back in there?
Who knows? You know what I mean? I like to strike, but yeah, I started as a wrestler. I wrestled all through high school and most of my younger life. So I have it to fall back on, but I like to bang, and it's just
Yep,
the way it.
yep. And you were sparring today. You said you had a sparring practice. So what's your schedule like training? How often do you spar, and how much do you do like jujitsu and wrestling and stuff?
Yeah, so it's just it varies. You know what I mean? It varies. The schedule always changes, always different. There's always different things. You know what I mean? Some weeks I don't spar that much. Some weeks I spar a little bit more. So it just depends. Depends on what we're going. I do jiu-jitsu, wrestling, striking, grappling, boxing, all the shit, and it's all different every other day. But I try to train 2 to 3 times a day, 7 days a week.
That's awesome. And before you made your UFC debut, I know you quit your full-time job to just focus on training. So what was it's a big risk reward there. What was your thinking of quitting your job and just going at it full time?
It's just right place, right time. You know what I mean? They say it a lot. The sport is a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, but it's also luck. You know what I mean? Things just fall into place, and sometimes you just get a little lucky. So I did this. I've done this for about 10 years, 10 years of my life, and it was always like part time. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
working full time jobs and trying to train, which most it's not a big deal because most fighters do that. That's most of the people that aren't in the UFC, and that's what they're doing. But it got to a point where I was starting to get a few wins. I had a couple exciting fights back to back, and I was like, I don't. And I was talking to my managers and my coaches, and I'm like, we only need a couple more fights, and we'll be on a contender. We'll be something. So I
yeah,
knew I was right there. So I was like, yeah, I gotta just go all out now. I gotta just train full time and do this shit to the fullest capacity that I can do. And it just so happened that I quit the job. A month later, I get the biggest shot of my life in the UFC and against a big name that has catapulted me higher than most first time guys get to go. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And a lot of these fighters, like yourself, have to work, odd jobs before they do go get a big and get a continuous contract. So what were some odd jobs you did before getting the contract?
It's not so much jobs, you know what I mean? I worked at I had a pretty decent job for like a person who didn't go to college and shit. Like I worked in a
Yeah,
factory, you know, I had 401k and I had the vacation and all that stuff.
nice.
It could have been a job I could have fucking done for the rest of my life and made okay money and been all right with it. But it's my belief in life is we're supposed to do things that we love to do, regardless of how much money we make or this and that. You have to find something you can support your family and do what you love, or you're gonna just be a miserable. You're just gonna end up bitter and miserable. And I don't want to be that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be doing something I hated for the rest of my life and just looking back in my life and saying I could have had this, I could have done this, and didn't go for it. You know what I mean? And that's something I truly believe, and I'm truly grateful that I had the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, when did you know you wanted to pursue cage fighting and MMA?
Um, well, after high school, I kind of didn't know what to do, and then after, there was no more wrestling. I wasn't good enough to go to college and wrestle in college and be an Olympian or something like that. So after high school, I was kind of doing the normal thing that kids do: get drunk a lot with their friends and do stupid shit. And then my first coach opened up a gym. It was like I think we were a couple weeks into training, and he was like, "Yo, we're gonna spar. All right, we're gonna do some sparring." And I took a beating. I took a beating, and after that, I was like, "Yep, this is it, man. I liked getting punched in the face. It felt if there was something comforting about it, something comforted about knowing that you're not the on the top of the mountain. That you could be done in any minute if somebody bet knows this stuff." So it's just amazing. It drove me to work as hard as I could to do this, and it was never looking back after that.
Yeah, I know I train jujitsu, and I know that every time you enter the gym, it's like there's always someone there that you learn something from. What have you learned from your training partners?
I'm just humbled every day. You know what I mean? There's always, dude. I don't train with bums ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some of the best fighters in the world. Like we don't have one of those gigantic gyms that everybody talks about over here. We got a couple. We got good fighters, tough as nails, human, salt of the earth people, and we know that we're dogs and we have to fight for everything every single day. And it's just humbling every day to go into a gym and get my ass kicked by somebody that you guys never even heard of. You know what I mean? It shows you that 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 you're still human, you're still a person. Even when you get big head, you knock somebody out, you get a little big headed, and it just tells you just to be humble and keep going. You know.
yeah. And I'm from Worcester, and you're from a little south of here, and it's Massachusetts is a lot of cold, miserable place for 6 months, and it kind of makes hard people. So, you know, it breeds tough people.
Yeah, I'm right down the street from you, bro. I'm right in Milford, so
Yeah,
yeah, we it's something that a lot of people don't understand, man. And our winters are not like other people's winters. You know what I mean? It gets cold here. It gets fucking mean, and you have to deal with some angry people, and
yeah,
it's just the navigation of dealing with those people and still trying to be a happy fucking uplifting person is what I feel like makes us the way we are. You know what I mean?
yeah. Plus, we have to shovel snow, which is a
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah.
um, so yeah, what was like what was your like after your first fight, what was your thought? you know did you say, oh, this is hard, I don't want to do it, or were you just like, this is what I have to do? you know
Yeah, my first fight ever. Yeah,
yeah,
it was after that you learn a lot of things. Like I've never really been in that situation where you have to freaking go out there and somebody's really trying to hurt you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I didn't grow up in a situation where I was street fighting all the time and doing all this kind of shit. So I never really had that environment. But I I was lucky enough. I got my win my first fight, and after that it was just a drive. I need to get better. I need to get
yeah.
better, get better, and it just consumed my life. I'd be the guy in the freaking grocery store shadow boxing, doing that, and I just couldn't let it go. You know what I mean? It was all I thought
Yep.
about. all I wanted to do, and I have not yet to find something that I enjoy as much as I enjoy fighting, man.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, I don't watch it anymore. I don't do any of that kind of shit. But just being in there and doing it is something I could never do. I could never live life without doing it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If I never fight again and I just go into it, I would go into a gym every day and beat the fuck out of my friends and just continue to do that because it's what keeps me whole and keeps my mind. It's also it's depleting my mind, but it's also keeping my mind in check.
That's good. Who is your like your first fighter that you really wanted to be like, who you looked up to?
I had a few, you know what I mean. Watch the ones I watched. Like always liked GSP. I liked
Yep.
BJ Penns and stuff. But like my first coach George Rivera was in the UFC for 10 plus years, and I learned so much what to do, what not to do from that man, and without that man, I wouldn't be here today. Regardless, I have my great coaches now, and everybody I love, and I love all my coaches. But without George, I wouldn't be here today. With his lessons, I wouldn't know how to handle myself doing these podcasts and stuff
Yeah.
with people. I wouldn't know how to talk to people. I wouldn't know how to interact with people. I wouldn't know how to see the bullshit between the good people that are actually there for you. It's I learned so much about just how to read people and how to understand how to navigate through the world of MMA and the world know that this sport is the most fleeting sport in the world, man. People love you one day and they hate you tomorrow. You're only good as your last fight, and that's something that he taught me my first week in the gym. You know what I mean? This sport is the craziest sport. It has so much good, and has so much evil in it, and it's something that with the people that came up around me, the young kids that I was in the gym with, that I had to show shit. This is the stuff I tell everybody every day. The sport is wonderful and beautiful. It will do so many good things to your life, but it will also do so many bad things, and you have to know how to handle that and navigate those waters. You know.
Yep. Um, who is like your big influence been in like your training style, your coach, you said. Um, but you know, you're have the wrestling background, you know.
Any coach that I've ever had, bro.
Yeah.
From my wrestling coach to all my coaches now, Brian, Tommy Teixeira from Regiment Training Center, my coach AJ from Uppercuts Boxing, my every coach I've ever had, my coach Rolando Griffith from my old gym, and just everybody that's ever put their hands to mold me and show me things, and without these people, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? It's every little bit by bit that has made me this way. And besides just my coaches, just my family, my mother, my little brothers and sisters, my dad, my girl, my fiance now, and just all these people that have helped me to become the man I am today. And I'm still not even there yet, man. I'm still just learning things every day, becoming more of a man. I still have boyish tendencies, man. There's things I don't really even know how to do, and things I'm still learning and
Yep.
as I learn as I grow. So I'm just excited with the people I have. I have a very small circle of people that I really trust, and they're helping me become a man every day.
That's awesome. And what's more important to you, feeling like the best version of yourself when you're in the cage or winning, you know?
Just even besides both of those, you know what I mean. The only thing that matters to me is performing, going out there and just leaving it all out there, regardless of what winning and losing. And it used to matter until you lose and you realize that you're still alive, you're still doing this, you're
Yeah.
still here, and you're still going, you know what I mean. So it's not so much to me about winning and losing. It's more about just going out there and putting on a good account for myself, putting on a good show for the fans, and never quitting on myself.
Nice. Oh, so what do you do when you're not training, you know?
I don't do much, man. I'm a hermit, bro. I try to hide, stay in my house, man. I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of movies. I play some video games, and
Nice.
if I am doing stuff, man, it's with my fiance, and we're just doing things that we love. You know what I mean? I like to be outside. I like to go for walks and stuff like that, man. I'm not into like really going out and partying
Yeah,
and shit. I'm not that person. You know what I mean? I'm a homebody, and as I get older, it just gets more like that, bro. I can't imagine if I didn't have her, bro. I just nobody'd ever see me. I'd be a phantom.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Uh, when is there a date for the wedding, or when is it still up in the air? Or
Not yet, not yet. We're just 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 got engaged, so we'll plan that.
nice. So we covered some of the highlights of your career, and what's some of the low points, you know? Um,
There's more of those than high points, man. There's
yeah,
more low than high points. You know what I mean? There's been losses that made me not want to do this anymore, and there's been other things. You know what I mean? And just like drama within gyms and with people, and just it's stuff I can't even talk about, man. That has made
yeah,
this sport very hard. Things that they have put a lot of stress on my brain, and made me have to wonder if I really wanted to do this. Even now with all the quarantine for a while, like everybody else going through mental things, being alone, being segregated from being just normal everyday life. You know what I mean? It is a very hard thing that now that it's more normal and everything's back to normal, it's easier to deal with. But like it's just been a long and busy process. The only thing that keeps me sane with this is just knowing that at some point through all this, I get to punch somebody in the head and they get to punch me, and it just makes it a lot easier for me to deal with.
yeah. And so, what do you consider your biggest achievement in your career or outside of your career?
It hasn't happened yet. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just making it to the UFC doesn't mean too much to me, man. This is something I've wanted to do my whole life. You know what I mean? Just making it there is not an end point for me. When I make it to the Hall of Fame, I make my get a shot at the world title. That's when I'll be happy with my process. You know what I mean? We don't have accomplishments yet. We just started the trek up the mountain.
yeah. And you're always grinding. And you're facing Guido Conetti next in March.
Yep.
What do you do besides training to prepare? Do you watch his fights, or do you watch film, or
I watched like one or two fights, man. I'm not big on the film. My coaches do all that for me. They get game plan, they set it all up, and we just go from there, man. I'm not training to beat Guido. Training to be the best version of myself. So I'm not worried as much what he does. I seen some things, and my coaches think have made game plans to try to exploit some of those things. But my job to me is just be the best version of me, make the weight, get in shape, and just do everything that I'm supposed to do, and not worry so much about him.
yeah? What's the worst part about fight week? Is it the weight cut, or is it?
Just the worst part about fighting is in general is just the weight cutting weight, man. It's one of those. It's one of the only sports that you actually have to freaking lose weight. You know what I mean? All the combat sports, you
Yeah,
ask anybody, man, losing a pound or 5 pounds or 30 pounds, it all sucks. It all sucks. Having to diet, having to control your eating it's dude, we're all fat kids at heart. You know what I mean? We
yeah,
like I eat shit like all the time. So it's been like it's been the process of trying to be more cognizant of how I eat and eat like a professional. So I'm working on it, but yeah, always the eating is going to be the hardest part.
yeah. And yeah, I know I've just lost a significant amount of weight. So I know the diet and everything, and what you can work out so many different ways. And as long as you're putting shit in your body, you're not losing that weight, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, congratulations, brother. That's awesome. That's
Yeah, I've
amazing.
lost 112 pounds.
That's awesome, bro. Keep it
Thank
up,
you.
bro. Crazy,
Yeah.
amazing.
Um, so the weight cut's pretty bad. And when you get to, you're going to be in Vegas again. So when you get to Vegas, uh, are there weird COVID restrictions for the athletes?
I think there was the first time when that last fight I did, like you had to kind of like quarantine to the venue. I don't know if they're gonna do that now. I saw like the last time some guys that I know fought, they got to walk around Vegas a little bit. So I don't know necessarily because I've only fought there once, but I'm sure there's gonna be some, man. I'm sure there's gonna be some with the new world we live in, man. We live in COVID America, so
Yeah,
the way it works now.
yeah. And you were supposed to fight in October. So how far ahead did you know that was going to get canceled?
So I had 10 weeks to get ready for that fight, and I was getting ready for that fight, and I felt great. I was training like 3 4 times a day, working hard, was in a good mind space, and I was sparring at one day, and I got kicked in the ribs, and it popped on my ribs, and it was one of those things. I had 6 weeks. The doctor said it was like a 6 week heal, and I couldn't really move. I couldn't really train. I couldn't really do anything. So it was like I already took a 10-day notice fight. I'm not really gonna take another fight on
Yeah,
with a you know what I mean? I'm looking to be here for a long time, not just here for a good time, man. I'm here to be here for the rest of my career. I'm looking to put on some exciting fights, and I want to be as close to 100% as I can. You know what I mean? We're
yeah,
never 100%, but the closest I can be to 100% is when I'm going to get in that cage.
yeah. That's good. Um, so what have you learned from fighting that you just want to pass on to, younger fighters?
Um, just inner strength. You know what I mean? We all have something inside of ourselves that if we learn how to harness it, can allow us to do amazing things. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to, like, as I get older, I'm trying to use the stuff that I've learned from MMA to the how to harness my, like, when I'm in a cage, I feel like a monster. Whether I get my ass kicked or not, I know that you're never gonna make me quit. I'm never gonna give up on myself. And now as a man, trying as I get older, I'm trying to learn how to use that and move it towards other things in my life. And that's the biggest thing that has got to give me confidence, like a belief in myself that nobody in the world can stop me if I don't want them to. You know what I mean? And it's something that as I have young guys around me that have come up, I'm trying to push that on them and show them that you guys can be this, you guys can be more than me, you guys are already better than me, you guys just have to believe in yourselves. The belief in yourself is, if you believe in yourself in anything you do, you will become great. And that's just the I know, something I know
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So if you win in March, who do you want next?
Yeah, man, I'm not a big person to call out. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna be the same thing that, like, the fight I was supposed to have in October. I took the first guy they offered me. This fight is the first guy they offered me. I'm just gonna be that company dude. Whoever they offer me, when they offer me, if the fight's in the time frame that I like, I'm gonna take it. I'm not here to like turn down fights or say no to fights because they're tough or they're easy. It's like it's not me. Whoever they offer me, I'll take, and I'm not in no rush to make it up. I'm ready to just go up one fight at a time and show the world who I am.
Nice. Well, it's been awesome to sit down with you, man. I'm glad we could get this together, and I wish you luck in March, and I hope you have a really great fight, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks.